You know, there is a very specific type of panic. Well, maybe panic is too strong a word. But there's this feeling that sets in when you're standing in line for coffee or maybe you're waiting for a train and you overhear a group of younger people talking near you.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
Right. You're listening and you recognize the syntax. It sounds like English.
The grammar is definitely familiar.
Exactly. But the nouns, the verbs, they are just completely foreign.
It's like you suddenly need a translator for your own native language.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that exact moment you realize the operating system of English has updated and you were still running Windows 95.
Yes, that is the perfect way to describe it. And usually we just shrug that off. We let the younger generation have their secret code, you know. We'd accept our obsolescence with grace. But today we aren't doing that. We are confronting the confusion head on.
We really are. And we aren't just guessing what these words mean based on, like, general vibes today.
Yeah.
We are looking at a hard data set.
Right. Because I have been feeling this recently, and I know if you're listening to this, you probably have too.
Yeah, this data actually tracks the collective confusion of the American public.
So welcome to the deep dive. Today we are unpacking the most searched slang terms of 2025. And we have a really fascinating report from unscrambler.com.
Yeah, they leverage Google Trends data to see exactly what people were typing into their search bars in a sheer panic over the last year.
Panic is probably the most accurate word for it. So what exactly did they look at?
So this report covers the search volume from January 1st to September 19th, 2025. And they didn't just look for, single words.
Right.
They used a ref's data to analyze about 150 variations of search inquiries. We're talking about people typing in things like, what does X mean, or X slang definition?
Which I absolutely love because it's this perfect metric of national bewilderment. It's a list of the words that are living rent-free in our heads right now because we simply cannot figure out what they mean.
Right. And what's really interesting about this data set is that it doesn't just give us the words. It actually gives us a psychological profile of the year.
Oh, how so?
Well, when you look at the top terms, you see these very specific themes emerging. You see confusion, obviously, but you also see vanity, and you see some darker, more aggressive trends, too.
Well, let's start with the confusion then, because the number one term on this list, the absolute champion of 2025 with 141,000 searches, is a phrase that, on the surface, looks like simple math.
It really does. The term is 6-7.
6-7, just the numbers.
Just the numbers.
And the reason this topped the charts, the reason nearly 150,000 people had to literally Google it, is because it is incredibly difficult to pin down.
Usually slang is pretty efficient, right? Like, cool means good, trash means bad. But 6-7 seems to be this shapeshifter.
That's the perfect way to describe it. The report highlights that the search volume is so high precisely because the definition depends entirely on the context.
Right. If you don't know the context, the words are meaningless.
Exactly. And according to the source, there are actually 3 competing theories for what this means, plus a fourth, a sort of meta theory that I think is the most interesting.
Okay, let's walk through these theories, because I definitely need to know which one I'm supposed to use if I hear this.
Theory 1. I've actually seen this used on TikTok, and it's usually accompanied by a very specific physical gesture.
Right. Theory 1 is the hand gesture. Picture someone standing there, palms facing upward. They start moving their hands alternately up and down.
Like a weighing scale.
Exactly like a scale trying to find balance.
Yeah.
In this context, 6-7 is a synonym for so-so. It's equivocation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's basically saying, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Okay, well, that makes sense linguistically. It's just a numerical way of saying, meh. It's a completely non-committal answer. Like, how was the movie? 6-7?
In that specific context, yes. But then, and this is where it gets confusing, you pivot to the sports world, and it means something completely different.
Right, because numbers in sports usually imply stats.
Exactly. So theory number 2 is a direct reference to the NBA player LaMelo Ball, specifically his height.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was listed as 6'7".
Yeah.
So in certain circles, dropping a 6'7" is just a nod to him, or to that stature in general.
So if I'm at a pickup game and someone yells 6'7", they aren't saying I'm mediocre, they're saying I'm tall. Or maybe that I play like LaMelo.
Ideally, yes. It acts as a shibboleth. It proves, hoops culture. But then, just to make it even more complicated, you have the music theory.
Of course. Pop culture always bleeds in somehow.
There is a rapper named Skrilla who has a song called Doot Doot.
Doot Doot? That's a catchy title.
Very. And the lyrics reportedly reference 6-7, which has led a lot of listeners to adopt the phrase just as a callback to the track.
So you have these 3 entirely competing definitions floating around simultaneously.
Which totally explains the confusion. If I think you're talking about LaMelo Ball, but you're actually doing a hand gesture saying my outfit is so-so, we're going to have a massive communication breakdown.
And that leads us to the fourth theory, which, honestly, I find the most fascinating from a linguistic perspective.
This is the meta meaning.
Right. There is a YouTuber named Mr._Lindsay who did a breakdown of this for the report. The theory is that 6-7 became so overused across so many different contexts that it essentially lost all specific meaning.
It just collapsed under its own weight.
Exactly. It became a meme just for the sake of being a meme. People started saying it because it was trending, not because they actually wanted to convey information.
It's semantic satiation on a cultural level.
That is wild to think about. So if you're a listener and you hear 6-7 out in the wild, the uncomfortable truth is that it might literally mean nothing at all.
It's just noise filling the silence.
Yeah, it's the vibe of communication without any of the substance. And that is likely why it's the #1 search. You can't define a vibe, so people just keep searching for a definition that doesn't actually exist.
That is incredibly frustrating for those of us who, like words to actually mean things.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
But okay, let's move down the list. We're going from meaningless and vague to something that is actually quite specific. And frankly, the tone shifts a lot here.
Yeah, the tone shifts significantly. The second most searched term, with 115,000 searches, is bop.
Now, to my untrained ear, bop sounds kind of cute. Like, oh, that song is a bop, meaning it's catchy. I feel like I've definitely used this word before to describe, like, a Dua Lipa track.
I think we all have.
But that is not what we are talking about here, is it?
No, and that's likely exactly why the search volume is so high. Parents or older peers might hear it and think it sounds innocent, but in the slang of 2025, it is effectively a slur.
Let's be very clear about the definition here. We aren't dancing around it.
It is used as an insult, primarily directed at women. To call someone a bop is to accuse them of being promiscuous. It's a modern scarlet letter.
That is a huge deviation from catchy song. It feels almost like a trap. Where did this shift even come from?
The etymology traces back to a song called Lollabop by the rapper Almighty Rexo. The song features some pretty explicit sexual language. But the slang didn't just stay in the lyrics.
Right, it migrated.
Yeah, it migrated to social media behavior.
Is this the cyberbullying aspect that the report mentioned?
Exactly. There was a trend starting back in 2023 that really took hold and peaked in 2025. Users, mostly young people, would tag others in photos or videos with the phrase lollabop, or they would attach the song to the image.
So the implication is, I'm tagging you with this song to say you're presenting yourself immodestly.
Correct. It implies the target is overly sexual. It's a direct way of shaming someone publicly. So while 6-7 is confusing because it's vague, bop is confusing because it sounds completely harmless but carries a very specific offensive payload.
That's the insidious part, isn't it? If you hear 6-7, you can just ignore it.
Right.
But if you hear bop being thrown around in a classroom or in a comment section, you actually need to pay attention. That is not harmless fun.
Absolutely not. It is distinctly different from harmless slang. It's weaponized language. And the dissonance between the sound of the word, which is, short and bubbly, and the meaning is what catches people off guard.
It's really good to know. I think a lot of people might use that word accidentally, trying to be cool and not realize they're dropping a grenade into the conversation.
Precisely. Context is everything.
All right, let's shake off the heavy stuff for a second and move to number 3. This one feels like it really speaks to the vanity of the social media age.
Oh, definitely.
The third most searched term is mogging, with 79,000 searches.
Mogging?
It sounds like something a cat does. Or maybe a British crime, like I've been mogged in the alleyway.
It does sound a bit like mugging, and honestly, the intent is somewhat aggressive in a social sense.
Okay, how so?
Mogging refers to looking better than someone else.
Okay, so it's a comparative thing.
It is purely comparative. You cannot just be mogging in a vacuum. You have to mog someone.
Right.
If you and I are standing next to each other and you are taller, better dressed, and have a sharper jawline, you are mogging me.
I see. It's zero sum. For me to win, you have to lose.
Exactly. It's all about physical dominance.
And where did this come from? Is this a brand new term for 2025?
Surprisingly, no. The report notes that this term actually gained traction way back around 2016.
Oh, wow. So it's practically vintage slang.
In internet years, absolutely. It originated in what's often called the manosphere, specifically among fitness-focused men and gym culture.
Okay, that makes sense.
It was all about looks maxing, which was the trend of trying to enhance your physical appearance to dominate the competition. You know, I'm bigger than you, I'm more cut than you, therefore I am logging you.
And now it's bled out into the general population. It's not just about biceps and gym culture anymore. It's about general aesthetics.
Right. It's really the vanity metric of the year.
Yeah.
It reflects this intense pressure on social media to not just be attractive, but to be actively more attractive than the person next to you in the feed.
So we have 6-7, which is confusion and chaos, bop, which is insult and malice, and mogging, which is dominance and vanity.
It really paints a picture of the digital landscape, doesn't it?
It really does. It's competitive, it's fast, and it's often cryptic. It's a mirror of what people are anxious about right now. They are anxious about fitting in, which gives us 6-7. They are anxious about reputation, which gives us bop. And they are anxious about status, which gives us mogging.
That's a really sharp insight. It's not just a random list of words. It's a hierarchy of modern anxieties.
Speaking of anxieties, those were just the top 3. But the list goes on, and I want to just run through the rest of the top 15 because the sheer variety of words here is hilarious.
Let's do it.
And I should note, for you listening, the report doesn't actually define these next ones for us. It just lists them as the words causing mass confusion across the country. But just listen to the sound of these.
I want to see how many I even recognize at this point.
Number 4, huzz. 61,000 searches.
Huzz. It sounds like a buzzing bee.
Or
maybe just with a Z on the end.
Number 5, chopped. 59,000.
Chopped. That one feels visceral, like you've been cut from the team or something.
Number 6 is big back.
Big back. That one sounds, well, descriptive.
Yeah.
And likely not complimentary.
Not at all. Number 7 is glazing.
Okay, I've heard that one. It usually means sucking up to someone, right? Like you're glazing a donut, over-complimenting them.
See, you are hipper than you think.
Barely.
Then we have a lightning round of pure, unfiltered confusion. Ready?
Hit me.
Zesty, Phantom Tax, Green FN, Delulu, Clanker, Ohio, Slop, and aura farming.
Aura farming is a personal favorite phrase, purely aesthetically. It sounds like a video game mechanic where you harvest souls or something.
Yeah.
And Ohio, just the state.
Just the state. 24,000 people searched for Ohio slang, or Ohio meaning, in 2025.
That is incredible. The state of Ohio is actively confusing the nation.
It's become a synonym for anything weird or cringe. If something is bizarre, it's only in Ohio. It's fascinating how a geographical location can just become an abstract adjective overnight.
But looking at this list, phantom tax, skibidi, all these things, it feels like we are just constantly catching up. And there's a really interesting point the report makes about the speed of this cycle.
Yes, this is crucial. If you are sitting there listening to this and thinking, wait, I finally just learned what Hocktua means, or I just started using the word demure.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I have bad news for you.
Hit us with the hard truth.
The report explicitly lists terms like Hocktua and demure as yesterday's news.
Ouch.
Those were the massive defining search trends of the previous year. They were everywhere. And now, in 2025, they are completely obsolete. That is brutal. Very mindful, very demure had its moment in the sun, and the internet has already chewed it up and spit it right out.
It speaks to the acceleration of culture. You know, slang used to last for a generation. Words like cool or rad stuck around for decades.
Right.
Now, a word might have a shelf life of 3 months before it becomes cringe.
Cringe is the ultimate death sentence. It's funny, I feel like I finally understand a word just in time for it to become uncool to actually say it.
That is the destiny of anyone over the age of 25, I'm afraid.
Fair enough. So what does this all mean for us? We've looked at the top charts, we see the confusion, we see the speed.
I think if we synthesize all of this, we see that language is becoming less about strict definitions and more about tribalism.
How so?
Well, look at 6-7. It doesn't matter what it means. It matters that you say it at the right time.
Right.
Look at phantom tax. It's an inside joke from a Twitch streamer. If you know it, you're in the club. If you have to Google it, you aren't.
So we are essentially moving toward an era of vibes-based linguistics.
In a way, yes. Communication is becoming more about the feeling of the words and the social signaling than the dictionary definition.
Which brings me back to a thought I've been mulling over since we started talking about 6-7.
What's that?
If the #1 slang term of the year, the most searched, most discussed phrase in the country, essentially has no fixed meaning. If it's just a vibe or a gesture or a misremembered rap lyric, have we reached a point where the words themselves don't even matter.
That is a profound question to leave on. Maybe the specific word doesn't actually matter anymore. It's just a signal. It's a ping to the network to say, I am here and I am one of you.
That is both beautiful and deeply terrifying. We are just pinging each other with nonsense to prove we exist.
Welcome to the internet in 2026.
Well, on that existential note, I think we'll wrap up this deep dive. Whether you are mogging your way through the day or just feeling a bit 6-7 about the whole thing, we hope this cleared up at least a little bit of the confusion.
And just remember the context for bop. That is the practical takeaway here.
Yeah. Exactly. Use your new vocabulary responsibly. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Take care.